Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's me again, Ibukun Ogunjimi. I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm sure there are some of my guests ready and available to have some fun and to discuss with us on Dream Dare Do today. So, I hope we're ready to learn from their wealth of knowledge. I hope you're ready to listen and engage with our speakers as they tell us more about Dream Dare Do. So today we have three guests. We have Emmanuel Peter from University of Toulouse in France. We have Folake Ogunjimi from the United Kingdom. She's a project manager. And we have Akonde Emmanuel. He is a social media strategist in West Africa. So as we invite to the stage Emmanuel Peter to speak to us on Dream as part of the event, I would like us to pay close attention and listen to him talk about Dream. Thank you. Over to you,
Um,
Emmanuel.
yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. I am, as I was introduced, I'm Emmanuel Peter from University of Toulouse, that's the University of Toulouse. I'm here to speak on dreams. And from the topic, it's a bit difficult to separate what it is dare to dream, because you can't just dream, but you just have to have that courage to dream. And basically, we know what dreams is all about, but not just that literary meaning. But we'll just look at it with respect to what we have on ground, what we are discussing today. Dream. Permit me to quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, and I quote, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Whatever it's seen today, it's a product of dream people had in time past." So it's not just waking up overnight and achieve whatever one had in mind, but it has to start with a kind of conception in mind, a kind of dream that, oh, this is what I want to have, and this is what I want to be in some years to come. So I'll break it down in this way. First, it's not just what we see in sleep, because basically everybody sleeps. We had several dreams. That's why I said it's not just the literary meaning of dream, but a conception of what we would like to be in some years to come. So a dream is simply a vision of your future. It gives purpose, direction, and hope. And why dream? Why does it matter? First, dreams actually ignite passion and ambition. It actually pushes us beyond our limits, our comfort zone. Basically, it is natural for human beings to look for a comfort zone, but that comfort zone would not make your whatever conception you have or whatever you would have loved to be in life to become a realistic. But you just have to like move out of your comfort zone. And one of the examples which I am going to give are some of the persons who had dreams and it has actually become something we are celebrating today is that of what Oprah Winfrey, who actually overcame poverty. I know most of us we know who Oprah Winfrey is. She's a popular American millionaire. And one of the persons that is also known is that of Elon Musk, who's always dream of moving to the outer space, sending men to the outer space beyond our own immediate environment. And we all know that even in our immediate environment, we have people who had set dreams and they are becoming people that we are celebrating today. They are becoming people that are celebrating. The world should not also forget that persons like Cristiano Ronaldo, he, at least from the story we heard, he was not all that well to do, but today is a celebrated name all over the world. So these are people that had dreams and they became successful by following what they had. They left their comfort zone and today they have become a kind of celebrity and a household name. There are common challenges that we will likely face when we have such dreams. One of it is that lack of resources or support. It is very common. It is very common that most people who are actually coming from a home where they are just starting from the scratch, having had a dream, one of the things that may draw you back as a setback is lack of resources or support. You would have loved to be a doctor. If you don't have those resources, it might be a bit difficult. One of the things is what negative opinions from others. You have set of friends, family members, they may look at your current situation. Basically, human being judge, the human being sense of judgment is based on current situations. So if people just look at it that, look, your parents do not actually have enough resources to actually take you to this dreamland of yours. How are you going to execute it? So there is a kind of fear that is likely going to be created by your immediate environment, from family members, from friends, and from those your loved ones. One of it is fear of failure. In fact, fear of failure is a common factor. Even those that are even currently they are successful, that fear is always there. It's a factor that should not be ignored. And doubt. At times you will doubt yourself. You would have pegged yourself and look at people whom you perceive to be better than you. Because basically we tend to perceive as if Mr. B or Mr. A is better than we by looking at our current situation. We've actually seen something like that where we had people, maybe I am a Nigerian, you saw some persons coming back from the Western world, then you start a kind of setting them as a yardstick for your success. Or maybe you have people whom some of your friends you graduated from a university same year and they are becoming successful. Use them as a yardstick. And that starts to create a kind of that the possibility of being successful in life might not be, despite the fact that you had a beautiful dreams, Then what is that? Your background, what I will say is this is my message. Having listed all these common challenges, is that your background does not actually define your future. It doesn't. In fact, most people who had faced one hurdle or the other, they are one of the most successful persons. I'm going to give an instance of, for those who study science, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was present after he had even finished PhD for almost 9 years. He had no job. For 3 years, he could not speak. But today, he is a man that is being celebrated, and what he actually penciled down over 100 years ago is still being used to discover a whole lot of things. And most Nobel laureates are actually, most Nobel laureates got their prizes as a result of their work, tying down to that of Albert Einstein, what he did in 1905 and in 1915, respect to relativity. Now, turning dreams into reality. One thing is to conceive it, another thing is to make it a reality. How do you actually turn the dreams you had to becoming something that is being realistic? One, your dreams, it must be clear, a clarification of your dreams. Then, at times we have a complex problem at hand. But for you to achieve and overcome such, it's all about what? You break it down. You break it to achievable steps. Another point is that you create a daily plan. This is what I want to achieve in the morning. This is what I'm going to achieve on Monday. This is what I'm going to achieve on Tuesday. This is what I'm going to achieve in year one. This is what I'm going to achieve in year two. This is also applicable to people whom we perceive to be successful, because a successful man has to have a plan. This is what I want to achieve in the next 5 years. This is what I want to achieve in the next 6 years. So you just have to create a daily plan. Another one is what you must find a mentors and role models. This is very important. Find people who are most successful, people whom you would love to be like. You want to be an engineer, look for somebody. It might not be somebody from your immediate environment. At times, we draw inspiration from people who are not even alive. I've actually drawn inspiration from people whom I've not met, who are not any longer alive, by reading their profile, their autobiography. That serves as a springboard that I am going to be successful, because what I believe in life is that we are not different. One head, two hands, two legs. So whatever Mr. A achieved, you can also achieve. Another point is that you must be persist, irrespective of whatever obstacles you found yourself, and must be adaptable to whatever condition you find yourself. Now, another point is that failure is a feedback. One, every successful story includes setbacks. Then you must learn, you adjust and move forward. At times, you would have experienced failures in life. You shouldn't allow that to take you down and for you to believe that, oh, what I had, the dreams I had initially, I am not sure if it is achievable. Whatever obstacles and failures you find yourself, see it as a springboard, as a stepping stone to move forward. Even in the field of research, most reported findings do most reported findings are not necessarily positive. There are some negative stuff that has to be reported, and that is adding to the body of knowledge, because some persons will have just like, oh, I don't have to go to this through this path because this has been reported. It's a form of achievement. So whatever obstacle one experiences in life, that shouldn't make you to feel that, oh, the vision I had some years back is not achievable. Not really. And one of the quotations I want to say is this. I quote, a diamond is a piece of carbon that handles pressure well. End of quote. Diamond is a very strong structure, is a very strong material that is used in drilling purposes, and you realize it withstand a lot of pressure. And at the end of the day, you will see an outcome that is coming out of such. So you should be able to kind of create a kind of strength within yourself that this is just part of life. Failure is just part of life. So that shouldn't stop the dream you had initially. It should serve as a springboard. Look at it from different angle, that this is just a setback, and it is something that every human being experiences in life. Whether you're successful or the rich and the poor, everybody is subject to elements of life itself. So just see it as a springboard and not something to discourage you and to push you off the path of your dreams. Another point is that another point I would believe is that always be what? If you are a Christian, if a religious person, put your trust in your maker. Believing that at times things that are not seen as important, God actually uses such to confound those who believe they are better than Mr. A or Mr. B. So whatever dreams you had, and you have actually done most of these steps I've actually presented before us this afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you're watching from, know full well that if you're a religious person and you pray to God, and I believe that your dreams would become a reality. And this point, I would like us to have a form of a kind of interaction. And I would love to entertain questions from the few points I presented before us, and I would like to hear your own opinion. Are we there? Hello?
Yes, we are here listening to you.
Okay, please. I know it's going to be a kind of interaction. So I would like to hear questions, contribution to what I've said so far. I know when it comes to dream, there are so many ways one could present this, but these are the points I believe that if one is able to follow it, then there is possibility of one's dream becoming a reality.
Very true. We so much agree with you. And there's a question here, though there's time for question and answer, but
Okay.
just quickly may talk about what about a student aspiring to get into a university? How does the person dream that would align with what maybe the people ahead of the person wants, maybe like the parents want? How do you align your dream with the dreams of your parents or the dream of some group of people that you are associated with? That's like a quick question you can just address in a minute because we have time for question and answer. So
Okay, to address such a question in a mix might it may be a bit difficult, but I think what I could say is this: just follow your passion and you believe that you have a dream, not necessarily what you are being imposed. Because at times a parent might ask you to become a doctor, it might not be what you want. But I think I'm going to address this during the question and answers period.
yeah,
Yeah. So
thank
please,
you.
yeah. Before I complete, please let me just take this inspirational quote. It said, I quote, hold fast to dreams, for dreams, for if dreams die, life is broken wing bed that cannot fly. This is my final message. You are capable of amazing things. Don't fear, doubt, or struggle to define yourself. Dare to dream, then work to make it real. Thank you, and I'm grateful to be given this platform to share my views. Thank you once again.
Wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We are really, really grateful for the insights you have shared, and we have learned so many things from you. Really, there are so many people who have done something in the past they dreamt, and then today we are enjoying the fruits of some of the things they have done. Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
Thank
We have a few minutes before we would invite Folake Ogunjimi to come tell us about Dear. Now we have dreamt. Now you've inspired of you've like try to ignite the fire in us, ignite the light, a candle in us. Lights, you spark this hope, for lack of a better word. You spark this hope to want to dream, to actually like set our mind towards something. Now, Folake is gonna share with us how do we dare? How do we dare? How do we move from that stage of dreaming to actually go through the paths before we do? How do we dare? So Folake is available now and ready to tell us about daring. Over to you, Folake.
Thank you. Trying. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Coco. Hi, everyone. Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I believe every other person should be able to hear you.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. So, like she rightly introduced, my name is Falake Ogunjimi, and I am a project manager. Today, I'll be talking to you basically about how to have audacity. Confirm that you can still. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is much better. Yeah. So, Emmanuel has spoken to us about dreaming, having those big dreams. Fine, that's fine. All right, we should all dream. But it's not enough to dream. You need to actually dare to do. And I've decided to come from the angle of having audacity because I think that a lot of people can relate to that because if you go on social media, it's always like, oh, the audacity, the audacity. That's fine. I think most people that have become something, it's just been because they've dared to actually take actions on their dreams. So if you think about the richest person you know and how innovative they've been, how they've been able to actually like actualize their innovations is just because they've they add the confidence to actually challenge the status quo and decide to do. So today, because I have just 10 minutes, I think um, it's going to be very quick. And I'm going to be talking about, first of all, have the audacity to question rules. Coming from a Gen Z point of view, it's very millennials and probably generations that are above us, they are always so, oh, this is how it's been done, this is how they think we should do it. They're always so scared to go outside of their comfort zone. But I don't think anybody has been able to make anything of themselves inside the comfort zone. So you need to have the audacity to go outside of your comfort zone, question rules. Don't just keep doing something because that is how it's been done. Um, think about like some of the traditional silk. Okay, for instance, in Nigeria, I say Nigeria because that's where I'm from. We believe that when you have a baby, the most, should I say basic, or like what anybody would think is, oh, when you have a baby, you have to back the baby. I'm trying to use this example because I like to think that everybody can resonate with the idea of having a baby and backing it. But in the Western world, I don't think anybody actually backs their baby. In fact, on the contrary, if white people see you backing your child, I think that would be a very, very fascinating sight to them. So um why don't you question why we've always had to like back our babies? Why can't we look for other alternatives that would not put a strain on the back? So that's just an example. So basically, be don't be afraid to question rules. Don't be afraid to question why something has come to be, and does it have to keep being that way? Now, when it comes to getting jobs and changing careers and basically making something of yourself, don't be afraid to just do. Say, for instance, you've seen a job application and then maybe you meet 60% of the job descriptions, but you're scared to apply because you don't think you qualify to apply for the job because you don't meet 100%. Now, I'll be real with you. Say, okay, let me not exaggerate, but I'd like to tell you that between 40 to 50% of people that get the kind of jobs that they want, it has been from a place of, oh, they had the audacity to just apply for the jobs. And this is especially with men. There's a study that shows that men are never afraid to apply for jobs. The way women think that they want to meet 100% of the job roles, at least 80 to 100%, they want to be sure that they qualify. On the contrary, men, once they think they can do 20 to 40%, they apply for the job and then they get it. And do you know what the gag is? The gag is that there is no job that you get that they don't train you. Now, I'm not saying apply for jobs that you cannot do. I'm saying if you meet 40 to 60% of the job description, then apply for the job because they are definitely going to train you. Absolutely. I am so sure that there is no company that would hire you and would not train you. So now, what I want you to take out of the ramblings for the past 3 to 4 minutes that I've done is that there is nothing that you want to do as long as it has been done before. I tell my friends this, that as long as something has been done, as long as there's a YouTube video on it, trust me, I can do it. And I need you to, if you don't even leave this event with anything, I need you to leave this event with that as long as it can be done, as long as Google has said that a human being can do this, you need to believe that you can actually do it. Now you've gotten the job. There are some jobs, although this is very rare in the Western world, but say, oh, there are some jobs where they want to ask you more than your job title. Say they expect you, say you're supposed to work 9 to 5, and there are some employers, I think this is quite common in and for the lack of a better word, in third world countries, they expect you to stay beyond your time. They expect you to be there before your resumption time. You need to have the audacity to protect your time. You need to have the audacity to set the boundaries and let them know that, okay, this is not your working time, and you shall not be. Now, I'm not saying don't go the extra mile. Go the extra mile, of course. Every employee, every worker, to even forget employers, forget the work setting. Personally, you should always want to go the extra mile for yourself and for others, but not at the expense of your own life. So you need to have the audacity to protect your time, to set the boundaries, and also have the audacity to prioritize your mental health. Personally, I'm a very big advocate of mental health. I think that on the world, we pay attention to physical health more than we pay attention to mental health. Even here in the UK, there is your health insurance covers your physical health, but not so much your mental health. And I don't think that's right, because there are some people that they are working amongst us, but they are not right in the head. So before it gets to that, you need to have the audacity to prioritize your mental health. Don't stay in a toxic work environment just because you're scared that, oh, um how are you going to get the next job? Personally, I've left like 2 to 3 jobs just because it was messing with me. If I find myself waking up in the middle of the night and I'm thinking about my boss and I'm scared, I'm leaving that job. So you need to have the audacity. While I understand that this is not very, very practical for people that are in a country where it's hard to get jobs, you still also need to prioritize your mental health, because now who they are alive, they work. So you need to have the audacity, prioritize your mental health, prioritize your time, and the audacity to just take actions, the audacity to do. And then I'd like to talk about AI. Now, this is where my um Odudua jumps out, because I don't know that many Yoruba people that can pronounce AI without saying hey hi. But you understand the idea. Okay, let's say artificial intelligence, because the world is moving towards that now. The world is on a wave now. Like everywhere you go, artificial intelligence. Sometimes, although sometimes it annoys me, because I'm trying to talk to a customer service representative, but it's the chatbot that is talking to me. Please get me a human being. But in other aspects, AI is a great asset. You should not be scared to use it as a tool. I understand that a lot of people are so worried about AI getting their jobs. Rather than being worried, you need to find a way to make it work for you. You need to find a way to incorporate it into your job and make your job easier for you to do. Creating more time for you. That, remember, we're prioritizing our time, we're prioritizing our mental health. If you find a way to make AI, oh sorry, I can't stop hearing it. If you find a way to make AI work for you, you use it as a tool rather than seeing it as your enemy. I promise you that your life is going to be way better for it. Personally, I ask AI to combine my I give AI the list of my perfumes and tell it to give me the best layering combos. I tell AI to help me budget my finances. There was a month that I said, okay, I was going to spend £100 in a month. I know it's ridiculous, but I asked AI to do it, and trust me, ChatGPT did it. Although it came back to solve me later that I have unrealistic goals. Yeah. So another thing that I want to talk about is that you need to have the audacity to build in public. And the way I'd like to explain this is, say for instance, when it comes to content creation, that's another wave that the world is on now. And I promise you, in the next 50 years, content creation will still be the thing. And I envy people that clocked this very early on, like the YouTubers that go on this wave 10, 15 years ago, because now you need to hear the amount of money companies are willing to pay content creators. But I've spoken to people that are so scared to post because they are afraid that they will be cringe. And I'm thinking, the way you are poor and broke, is that not cringe to you? So now I would just like to encourage us. So it doesn't look like this has been too harsh. I'd just like to encourage us to not be afraid to build in public. If you look at, I'm pretty sure, I like to think everybody knows Mr. Beast. If you look at Mr. Beast's first video, that is the definition of cringe. But who remembers that? The only time I know that I remember that is when I want to talk about it. That Mr. Beast did not start from, it didn't start big. It didn't start in a glamorous way. It started cringe, and that's fine. So it's okay to be cringe. Be very comfortable with being cringe, because everything is still part of the process. And because when you now become uncringe, when you become really big, nobody really remembers. Nobody, I'll be honest with you, nobody really remembers the days of your humble beginnings. Everybody just sees that, oh, this person is doing well now. They don't really remember the times of 200 views, the times of 2 likes, where it's just you and your flatmates that are liking the videos. Nobody really remembers that. And even if they do you care? Because now you're big, you have the money, but there is nobody that has actually made it without putting themselves out there. So you need to have the audacity to build in public, not care what anybody thinks. Just do. Basically, just have the audacity. Just do. Don't be shy. Don't. I feel like most of our problems will be solved if we stop caring what people thought. And that brings me to my next point, which is having the audacity to live according to your values. And I'm saying this particularly to young people. Don't be too easily influenced by what you see on the internet. You need to dare to live by your own rules, live by your own values. I don't care what any influencer has posted. I don't care about what you have. I don't care about how you appear to be living large. And you shouldn't too. You should be okay the way you are. And also have the audacity to trust the process, because this is a process, no matter how big you are. Because tell me why people like Elon Musk, people like Rihanna, they are still coming out with new products, still looking for ways to get our money, because they never let themselves be so comfortable with where they are. These people are billionaires, but they still try to improve. So you need to have the audacity to keep keep improving yourself. Don't get too comfortable. Live by your own values. Ebuku, can you tell me how many minutes I have left? Hello? Okay, I'll just keep talking then, hoping that somebody is listening to me. Okay. Hello?
Yes, for like you have 1 minute to wrap up.
Thank you. I thought I was speaking to myself.
No, you cannot. We are live, and then there are so many people listening to you all over the world.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, just because I have a minute to wrap up. So I've talked about having the audacity to set your own boundaries, prioritizing your time, prioritizing your mental health, the audacity to actually take actions. Don't just dream. You need to actually have the audacity to do, because a lot of people that have made something in their lives is because they've had the audacity. Now, I'm not saying this is going to come easily. It's not going to come easily. It's not that easy. Even Me that I'm speaking now is because I'm trying to have that audacity. That's why I've agreed to speak at this event. It's not very easy, but you need to just do. And when you've done all of this, you've taken actions, you're doing, you need to also have the audacity to rest. It is okay to rest. It is okay to take time. Say this weekend, I'm not doing anything other than resting. Because I promise you that there are some people that have just been working and they are burnt out, but they don't even know that they are burnt out. They don't know that that is why they are no longer, they don't know that that is why they have the creative block, or that that is why they can't seem to think clearly. Because being burnt out is a real thing. I've dealt with it and I know that it's not a good place to be, and it's avoidable. So take time to rest. It is very, very okay to rest. And all in all, remember these things. Have the audacity to live by your own rules. The audacity to just do. Personally, I think it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So I'm just going to leave you with these few words, sir. Go about your life with the audacity of the average Nigerian man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Lake. It's really, really good listening to you, um, learning about audacity, how to dare. Really, really interesting to have had that inspiring talk from you. The audacity to change the status quo, the audacity to put yourself out there, the audacity to live according to your rules, the audacity to trust the process, the audacity to rest, and to not be afraid to build in public. I actually particularly like the cringe, no cringe thing. So you should be have the audacity to do cringe things so that by the time you get to the point where you don't have to cringe, you would then be on cringe. Well, if that's the word to say. Anyway, it's been good having us. It's been good listening to you so far, listening to all these inspiring talks, and I believe that we are ready for the next speaker. So let's just get this set out. Yeah, I believe we are ready for the next speaker. We've heard about audacity to trust the process, audacity to live according to our values, to not be so easily influenced by the things we see out there and then go do negative things, audacity to do positive things, and audacity to rest, audacity to trust the process, audacity to start small. It doesn't have to be so big. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to do big, 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 big things. All the small, small things you keep doing, those things adds up eventually. So thank you so much for Lake for that inspiring talk. And I've actually learned so much from what you've said. So right now we're gonna invite an amazing speaker, a social media strategist from West Africa, Emmanuel Akonde. He's going to tell us more about how to do. We have heard how to dream. We've listened to how to dare. Now, Emmanuel will tell us how to actually do things. So, welcome, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
make sure everyone can hear you
Okay.
clearly. So, let's see.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Yeah.
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 Can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yeah. So good morning, afternoon, evening. Like everyone has said. I mean, I don't know where or what the time zone is wherever you are. Today I'll be talking about doing, and when I was told that I would talk about do, what first came to my mind was, God is the only one that knows how to do first. But this is not a religious, what's it called, session where we talk about, like, this is where we talk about us doing by our own self. And I'd like to start from my experience, right? Doing Before I define what like doing is, we all know that it's about taking action and trying your best to be productive or to move forward in life, kind of. It means, moving forward when there's, it's not comfortable and you're not in your best, form yet, and you're still trying to like take action. But like I said, I'll start from a relatable story. I grew up in Owode, Ogun State. And yeah, I mean, the larger part of my childhood was there. And one of the things that happened after secondary school was that somebody came to tell my mom that, new, sorry for the people that know or understand Yoruba, I'll like explain to them. Ní owó pre-degree, nǹkan tẹ́ máa ṣe, ìmọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kó yọ OAU kúrò nínú like his admission, his JAMB form kind of. And I overheard it. She didn't say it in front of me. She told my mom, and I was hearing, and it made me shake. And because of my kind of background, I mean, I won't even classify myself as somebody who's from a middle class family. It was lower middle class kind of. So this person told my mom that they should not think of OAU as at that time, because admission was a big deal at that point for us. And that was the only reason, was because we didn't have the resources. And she felt like I was probably not a top student, so just pick another school basically. But I mean, I never changed based off of the people I had seen do stuff, and some of them are here, probably even listening. People I've seen, who are also from the same environment, and they had finished their degree and they also had done their masters or started doing masters, which made me also believe in doing. And this brings me to my first point, which is talking about the importance of your environment when you're doing. Even though, yes, we'll say, don't look at your environment and all. And that is what I want to advise this evening, to say you cannot allow what people say affect what you're doing. Tunde Onokoya, the chess in slum guy. Sorry, can everybody hear me? I just want to confirm.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, yeah. So Tunde Onokoya, the chess in slum guy, tweeted that you can do small things or big things from small places. And if you've read about his story, he had every reason not to. I mean, he dropped out from secondary school because there were, there was no money. Yeah, there was no money for his mom to. His mom was cleaning the school in exchange for him to go to be able to like attend the school. And at some point, I think he had a problem and he had to drop out. But he always believed, right? And he always did stuff, even when it was still small. He learned chess in a barber shop, I think. Yeah, he was fascinated by it and all. So that will be the basis of what I'll be talking about today. I want this talk to be as relatable as it should be, really. And the title I've given like this talk is doing where dreams begin to breathe. So the two other speakers, I appreciate them for, I mean, laying the foundation for what I am going to be talking about. And I've also explained what doing means. And the next thing I'll be talking about will be what stops people from doing. I mean, you want to become okay, for example, I am a social media strategist, yeah, and I also wear different hats at the office, content creation, sometimes I do sales, sometimes I do this and that. And most times when I do these things, when it comes to getting like when you've paid your dues in terms of you working and doing stuff at work, the kind of boss or the kind of environment or the kind of reception that is gotten, and it's not only from me, is that what have you done? I mean, yeah, it's what anybody can do, really. You don't get that praise for doing stuff, and this is the number one reason, or one of the reasons why people do not do, because there's nobody cheering them, like what you do for footballers to say, oh, yeah, 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 you're doing well, and you shall go when they score. And this is one of the reasons why people do not like are afraid to do. Another reason will be fear of failure, which is like the general and the most popular reason to say, oh, what if I fail? What if I'm not able to do it? But this will bring me to one of the YouTubers that has like done the work or walked the work in Nigeria, which is Tayo Aino. Tayo Aino started, I don't know if you know Tayo Aino, anybody knows him. He's one of the most successful YouTubers now. And he started YouTube after he stopped doing Uber, I think, here. And one of the things that he said was that people like then just thought that, oh, why are you like wasting your time? Even Mr. Beast, like Folake mentioned, Mr. Beast said his own story about how most people thought that he was wasting his time in front of camera. And now, I mean, he didn't fear to he wasn't afraid to start small, and he was not perfect, but he's like, for me, he's like the most successful YouTuber in the world. And Tyler now is no longer in Nigeria. He is a very successful YouTuber in Nigeria, like, I mean, in terms of the Nigerians that are on YouTube. And the other reason why people do not do, or what stops them from doing, is they believe execution is for the pros. Like, oh, if you want to do YouTube, if you want to do social media, it's just like posting. In my discipline, or no, don't let me say discipline, in my work, there's what we call content flop. Sometimes you are with the algorithm, you post something that is really like, um, productive, or is really value added kind of here, and you see that not many people are liking, and you kind of feel like, oh, I'm not sure this content creation is for me. But Mr. Beast once mentioned that if you ask him for an advice and you want him to come help, he's never going to help you that way. I mean, the way you expect, because he wants you to do more. And he said that he always tell his, people who ask him for advice, or maybe to be his to be their mentor, to say, you need to create 100 videos first, and after that you can come to me for an advice. I will check out your page and all. And he mentioned in his interview that most of the people who take action, I mean, when they do, and they are almost at 100 videos, before they get to 100 videos, they are always successful. I mean, they get a grasp of what they are supposed to do right, which means that there's power in doing. Even God, I mean, when he was creating, according to the Bible, says that he created the heaven and the earth. He didn't just sit down and think and, just, he could have done that, but he did. Like, he created, he was a creative, like we most of us are today. So I'll skip from this part of why what stops people from doing, and going into action, like taking action. And if you, for example, people who are gym lovers, in January most people had that idea. Everybody tweeted and said, "Oh, this year I'm taking my weight loss journey or whatever reason you're doing, going to gym. I'll take it seriously. And by now, you would realize that not all of them, I mean, probably more than 50% are not doing what they tweeted. So, which brings me to the fact that it's not only about what you say, it's also about allowing the action to, like, creating a momentum for the action. Like in your brain, it's not only about announcing to people to say, "Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that." It's also about, even if a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is not going to work," it's about putting in the effort. And sometimes it's so hard to do when there's no, like, camera, when there's nobody to come out and say, "Oh, this is it." And it can be hard. Doing can be hard. It's not easy. Even for me, I still, like, sometimes struggle with doing. And it's just important that we resist that urge to think the other way, to say, what if it doesn't work out? What if it works out? You're not going to lose anything. So, as a student, you might be tired of rejections. You might be a creative who is overwhelmed by the algorithm. I mean, whichever space that you're in, a business owner who is unsure of, a risk and all. Doing also feels heavy. Doing can put you into problem. I remember in 2020, I took a tie-dye gig and it was 980K or so, yeah. And it put me into debt, but I learned a lot of things because I was not afraid to do. And it put me into debt not because I did not do what I was supposed to do. So that's one of the fears. I mean, you see a potentially big gig and you be like, what if it fails? No, 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 I can't owe somebody maybe 200K or 400K. But really, I'm not superhuman or anything, but I took the gig and I was able to deliver, but it still put me into debt because somebody did not do what they were supposed to do right. And after that, I had learned a lot of things. And now, today, if I get a gig for tie dye or maybe another thing, and more than 1 million naira gets into my account, I am not going to shiver. Not because I don't need money. I'm not going to shiver because that's not the first time I'm doing, which means that I've learned from that, like, experience, to also put other things in place so that I don't fail, or let's say that partial failure the way I had in subsequent ones. And before I like go to the next point, I want to mention something that happened last year. So because I work for a home appliance brand, I had like a really big client last year, uh, because I said I do sales too. And it showed me the power of doing, because usually average Nigerians cannot afford like what we sell. Even like sometimes I know that I cannot afford like what we sell at my firm because it's way above my salary range. But because it's premium home appliances. And somebody, people chat me like on a daily, because I handle the brands page. And I get tired sometimes of doing, like, in terms of replying to the chats, in terms of giving them product specifications, in terms of going to their sites to check, okay, what kind of kitchen, what's the drawing. I'm not an architect, but I mean, there are people that work together with that. But this woman just chatted me. She had not liked the post and all. I mean, she had not liked any post, but she just chatted me. I need this, just normally as it happens. And I sent, information. I did everything. Spoke to sales, spoke to my MD. She needed discount. We spoke about it, and she eventually paid. I mean, it's for averagely in Nigeria, there are only few social media managers that will be able to pull in the figures that that woman brought in for me, for the company, not for me really, because I didn't get. It's not like I got the money directly. So since then, I was able to like kind of cement my the idea that, this guy is just a social media manager. He just posts for us and all. And I was able to use that to I always like mention that whenever I want to like count my wins. And it's because on that day, if she had chatted me and I did not reply, I was tired of doing it, it wouldn't have happened. And I would just still be the social media manager who doesn't bring results. And that's not the only result. I'm mentioning that because it's like one of the like biggest that I had gotten. So it's important for us to not get tired of doing, even though the results are not coming like immediately. Like I said earlier, falling in love with the messy schedule. Nigeria is a place where, like the story I like started with, is a place where everybody, even almost all your family members will tell you, I'm not sure this thing can work, or I'm actually shaking it by, like as an example. And I mean, it's just about, like Folake said, it's just about daring to ask questions with your actions to say, I am going to do this no matter what happens. I mean, I really do not care about your opinion and whatever you do, because there's something that comes to my mind most times, because I also do like, free trainings for children to teach them tie and dye. And usually people see tie and dye as a skill that is for Abeokuta women. I mean, it's not. But one of the reasons why I do it is because I've seen somebody like Tunde. He was really like, let me borrow the word cringe when he started. And I've also realized that people who will have opinions about you the most, when you do stuff and you fail, they are never going to give you money. They are never going to probably even help you. The people, I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying most of them. So today, my charge for you all and myself really is to start before you're ready, move before you're certain. Start before you're ready, move before you're certain. I'm like repeating that so that it like we are able to relate well with it. Because as a student, if you want to join a competition, you might be thinking, what if I fail? What if I do this? What if I do that? But it really doesn't matter. As a creative, post the project. There are many projects I've worked on that I even have a podcast that I'm supposed to edit. But sometimes I think after this call, I am going to edit that podcast because we didn't have like enough equipment and all, but I've just advised you all, so I have to also do like, go ahead and do it. Business owner, as a business owner, test the idea, buy it with half your salary. Yeah, you will not die. And what if it works? You'll be on CNN or BBC, Igbo or Yoruba saying, "Oh, this was how I started," and blah blah blah. And don't wait for confidence. Move with commitment. Yeah, like you need. I mean, sometimes we always need you to be confident. Because I play football, there's this lesson I've learned in terms of let's say you're playing against a team that has parked the bus. Sorry for two people that do not understand football, but it's a simple analogy. Let's say you're saying like you're playing against it really happened this morning. I was playing behind my house, and it was the last throwing, right? The dial minute, like that was the ref was ready to come in because it was entering the second set. But when they threw the ball to me and they passed, I just tried, like, I just thought that let me just shoot this ball. Everybody was in the post because they didn't want to concede, but I played it and it entered. And I'm not trying to hype myself. I'm not like the best footballer or anything, but I'm trying to say that even if time is against you, even if your parents don't believe in you, even if everything is against you, the internet is against you. Wherever, the internet probably can not be against you, but I'm saying whatever is against you, wherever you've come from, the place I grew up, like I said, a lot of people are familiar. There's no light. That's an excuse for us to say, "Oh, I didn't get admission because there's no light." But you have to. Even when we're in school in Ife, people used. That can be outrageous, but people used GT Bank light, ATM light to read. That's where you see that people want to do. Like they are willing to do no matter what, and the result is always beautiful. That's just it. I won't lie to you. Like it is always like crazy in terms of people admire you from afar. Today, Tunde Onokoya is going to UNESCO, giving speeches and all. When it started, I'm sure there will be Egbon Adubos or older people in the area saying, why don't you focus on your medicine? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So I mean, it's in reality there will be all the voices to say no, don't do this, don't do that. But you need to do. You need to not think about anybody. I mean, there's a slang I always tell my friends: is he giving you money? Like, is the person? Oh, they said, Ima, on big Ima. No, is the person supporting you? Is the person giving you another option that is feasible for you? If they are not, then their opinion doesn't matter. And yeah, I'm rounding up now. There's a popular phrase that or a slang that Burna Boy mentioned at some point, and he said, "You go explain tire like if there's no result." I think that as Christians and as I mean, whatever you believe in, right? We all need to know that there's always not going to be a result if you do not do. So if you like believe that you go explain tire. What of people that are working? What of people that are doing 2 gigs? What of people that are managing like different projects? What of people that are doing multiple research? There is no result for you if you do not do. So you have to do. And to be candid, I believe strongly in obsession, like being obsessed with doing. Somebody also on Instagram, because I'm a SMM obviously, and my examples are in that area. Somebody on Instagram, there's a guy, he's a Etisalat ambassador, I think. Yeah, he mentioned that obsession, even if you have talent, right? Like somebody mentioned Lami Yama in the comments, you would notice that he has that talent and all. But if he doesn't go to the gym, he won't be fit to play. So you have to still do, no matter what. Even if you're Joseph, you've got dreams. You can dare to do stuff, and you need to be able to like. Maybe you're tall, you are a model, you are creative, you are very good with numbers. You need to believe and do. You need to believe and do. So, lastly, to round up, I'll just say the economy is not stable here in Nigeria, where I stay. I'm sure that there are also other obstacles in wherever you are. You might not have the capital, power supply. There's no light. Internet can be frustrating. Clients may ghost you. I've been ghosted before. You might write, an article and it doesn't make sense. I mean, I've had that experience before, and friends may not support you, and society often celebrates results. I mean, the people we are celebrating today, in when you play football matches, it's the person that wins that will clap to their fans and say thank you. The other guys will just go into the locker room and they are failures in quotes. But it's important to always not think about these things, to do. There are samples or examples of many people have done, and they were not afraid. I've mentioned Taya, I've mentioned Aproko Doctor. Aproko Doctor now gets gigs from United Nations and Belinda Gates Foundation. Yeah, Bill Gates Foundation. And also, some people are still I just want to mention there's this guy Ola of Lagos. I worked with somebody on a project recently. I did research for them, and they mentioned how much Ola of Lagos was charging them. And I realized that even till now, Ola of Lagos English is not really clean, but he's still doing. Even though a lot of people have things to say about him, blah blah blah, but he's still doing stuff. So I want you to, even if it's still cringe today, my advice or my plea for you and even me, because I'm also learning from all this I'm saying, is for you to please do stuff. You want to achieve this. We all want to be in better places. We all want to make money. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be respected. Please, the important thing for us is to do. I do not have any quotes to back it, like to end this, but it's just an advice and a plea to say there are people who have done stuff, and don't listen to other people, when they are saying, oh, it won't work. Just please do. I guess my time is up. Yeah, thanks.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. Like, do, do. And this is us doing, actually. This is us doing. Because a lot of people have mentioned, oh, why not just do something on LinkedIn? Let's hear from people. Let's learn from others. Let's try to bring professionals together. Let's try to bring students together. And this is us actually doing that. And I believe a lot of those that are listening, those that are watching us right now, they are learning from the experiences we are bringing into this platform. And from what you have said, taking action, practice makes perfect, doing helps us learn. There is power in doing. And then failure is a learning process and can only happen when we do. If you don't do anything, you cannot fail, right? But if you do not learn from failures, how would you improve? It's something also that you mentioned, Emmanuel, that resonated with me is start before you are early, move before you are certain, move with commitments, and then choosing opinions wisely. There are a lot of people will come to say a lot of things, but we should learn to choose opinion wisely. The voices that will let resonate in our head, the things that we let people tell us we cannot achieve, we have to be careful. The voices we listen to, because we just need to do, and we just need to do something. We never can tell which of what we do will work. I like the story of the client you had who you, if you had not actually responded to that client, you would not know that it will become something big or something good will come out of that interaction. So doing is very, very important. Well, we have uh, s- a few minutes to take question and answers. We have a few minutes to take question and answers. I know networking is ongoing. People are chatting me up. People are chatting other people, trying to reach out and trying to like communicate and learn about one another, and also see a way where we can collaborate. So which I really like, and that is actually one of the essence of the program, is for us to actually meet, especially those of us that are not able to meet physically. We are able to get involved and then also be a part of this event virtually. This is really good. So we're going to invite our speakers, all our speakers, to try to answer some of the questions I've been receiving. And one of such question is we have a question that says, let's see. How can I make my dream align with my parents or the group I am in? That's one question for somebody, the person, for Emmanuel, Peter, who spoke on dream. Then a question for Lake, who spoke on dare. We have two questions actually. Somebody is asking, is it possible to dare without stepping on toes? For like, are you there? Somebody is asking, is it possible to
Yeah.
dare without stepping on toes? Another person is asking, how can I dare wisely? Yeah, I guess I can also add that. How can I dare without stepping on too many toes? That's the question for like a, and then for the another question I'm gonna pick is just like paraphrasing the question actually for do. This person wants to know how to start. The person wants to know how to start to do. Yeah. So it's a general question, and I believe that our speakers are ready to respond to the questions. So over to you, Emmanuel Peter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, moderator. In fact, the question raised is one of the major issues that's basically to your dream to align with that of your parents and possibly the group you belong. I believe as an individual, God created us with a unique potential. If you go back to basically developing countries, and instance, our home country, Nigeria, if you have a parent doctor, then the parents will expect you to be a doctor. And that has always been a major problem because once the vision is not really aligned and if you don't really have the potential, it becomes an issue. And I felt that this advice is actually meant for parents because you would see a kind of certain potential that a child has. It may not necessarily align with yours. If that child has this potential of being a skilled footballer, and you are trying to push that child to become someone else, maybe to read law, and he's not having interest towards such, then there's going to be conflict of interest, conflict of dreams. The child has the potential of being a great footballer, and you are trying to push that child to be someone else simply because you have your own dream, and you are trying to impose that dream on that child. It's at times at the end of the day, it might not necessarily give a reasonable result. Though at times, basically, maybe as a parent, you may even from a very tender age, you can create a kind of template in the mind of that child so that when that child grows, it may be difficult. The child would have had that picture in his or her mind that is who I want to be, simply because you have actually fine tuned the mind of that child to follow a particular dream. But whereby that child had already had a dream and you are trying to impose your own dream as a parent, or you want to be, or you belong to a particular group. For instance, most of their group are engineers, and you want to be an engineer simply because you want to belong, and you don't have the skills. The mathematical skill is not there. Your ability to have that imaginative spirit, because engineering is all about what? Your ability to imagine things. Then you are likely going to have problem. You're good in a particular field, but you may not be all that good in other field. I cited an instance because my background is science and engineering. I cited an instance of Einstein. If he had read engineering, nobody would have heard of him today. So he decided to follow his own path, and that made a difference. There's a common say that there are two routes to a wood. I only decided to follow an unknown path, and that made a difference. So I just felt that imposing or trying to follow a particular group because you want to feel belong to a particular group, at the end of the day, it's you may be successful, but if you had followed the dream you had initially, you would have been more successful than following a dream as a template created either by your sponsors, by your parents, or a particular group. I think that's my own. That's what I have to say for now.
Thank you so much. That's very insightful. Like that is really, really good. And learning from people who have actually had the experiences, all these experiences, this is it's really good to actually hear from people who have gone through this rather than maybe people who have not necessarily gone through some of these processes, and then also sharing your personal experience. This is really, really helpful for us because I personally like it when people share stories, real stories of things that are happening, and not just vague information for us to use. So I really appreciate how holistic we have been, and how we have tried to be open and vulnerable as much as we can in this particular conversation. So over to you, Folake. If you're still with us, we know you have a lot to do, but then we appreciate your time with us. Everyone, all the speakers, we appreciate your time with us. We know out of your busy schedule, you've been able to create this time, and we are grateful for it. So Folake, over to you. You may answer the question if I believe you have received some of those questions. So
Yeah, so I have two questions. The how do I dare without stepping on toes, and how do I dare wisely?
yeah,
Is that correct?
yes, very correct.
Thank you very much. Um, how do you know when I had the question, how do I dare without stepping on toes? Well, the first thing that came to my head is, oh God, Why are we still thinking about what people think? But I get it. I get it. And now that is why I think I need to clarify some things. Know the difference between being bold and being aggressive. I'm not saying be aggressive, I'm saying be bold. Daring and having audacity doesn't mean that you should be dismissive or be rude or just be loud. It means that be very courageous and intentional about your goals and just know what you want to do and go with it. And now, remember when I talked about like have the audacity to live according to your values. Now, lead with those values, not ego. So you ask yourself, am I daring for impact or am I daring for attention? If you are so sure about the impact that you want to make, I don't see how you will step on important toes. Maybe people can feel offended by, oh, how dare you? But I don't know that there are so many right thinking people with proper values that will feel offended because you've dared to go after what you want. When your boldness, when your audacity is rooted in setting solving problems or setting clear boundaries for yourself, there's no that would not come as you stepping on toes. You being principled. Uh, where's the background noise coming from? Okay, is it that's just you being principled. Now, another way you can have audacity without stepping on toes is that you communicate clearly and respectfully. So you let people know what you want to do. Having audacity does not mean that you lose your emotional intelligence. You still have to have that emotional intelligence. You state your intent, what you want to do. So, say for instance, when I talked about how you have to challenge the status quo, you have to ask questions, you have to have the audacity to challenge the rules, question those rules. So it could be, for instance, oh, I know this has been done this way. Do you mind explaining why this has always been done this way? Or if you have a different way we can do it, you can say, okay, I know this isn't usually how we do things, but I'd like to try a different approach because I believe it will help us save time. Now, I don't know anybody that will be offended by that, the way I've just said it. And now, co- having audacity and having the boldness to go after what you want is not going to be rosy. And I've already said it that this is not very easy. It's not going to be so easy. It's not going to be smooth. You are going to face resistance. It is now that emotional intelligence that comes into play that will help you manage the situation. And nobody likes change. Nobody actually likes change. If you are trying to change something for good, the average human being, we can be very resistant to change. You need to understand that. You need to understand that people often resist change and they can even be offended by it, especially the older generation. Like, oh, that's how we've been doing it. Why do you want to change things? But again, if you are so sure about what you want to do and you're coming from a place of value, with the emotional intelligence, you can make as many changes as you want. Acknowledge that, yes, you know that this is not how we've always done things, and maybe it might be uncomfortable for some people, but don't ever let that stop you. Be firm, be kind, and be consistent. When people know that, okay, this person means business, they are going to cave. And now you can't just come from nowhere and make those changes. You need social capital. You need social capital before you can challenge the system. If you want to dare in spaces that are not spaces that, let's say, that are even traditional, you need to find a way to enter into that space, earn their trust, make sure that they are comfortable with you. And once they know that, oh, this person is competent, this person is respectful, they are more likely to even support you. They will even be the ones that will support you. Let's say for instance you want to um change, say in a very rural area, you see that the children are not living right, and you want to uplift them, you want to uplift that society, because we come from a place where people would think that um maybe they want to use us for maybe they want to use us for money ritual. Permit me to speak Yoruba. People can think that àwọn fẹ́ ṣe sàárà ni wọ́n fẹ́ fi wá ṣoògùn owó. But if you go from, oh, you've already met with the leaders, you've already, they know you have them on your side, there's no change that you can make. I'll take for instance the Tunde Onokoya that Emmanuel made, gave an example about. If Tunde goes to Osho, the under bridge, it doesn't just go straight to help the children. Sometimes you have to settle those the area boys, that it's found a way to even make them be on his side. I'm pretty sure there's no time that he would enter their area that they don't recognize him. So you don't just, you can't just, nobody is an island, so you can't just dare on your own. You need to, all these things I've talked about, you need to have like emotional intelligence, you need to have social capital to, before you can make these changes. And all of these things also, the way I believe I'm also answering the second question, which is about daring wisely. And I'm just gonna add this, that choose your battle wisely. It's not every time, it's not every situation that you can disrupt. Now, having audacity does not necessarily translate to being contrarian. It's about being strategic. Think about what you want from this. What outcome do I want from this? What do I want to gain from this? Is it what it is? This the best time to push? Is this the best time for me to make this change? Those are, that's another way where I think that you can be strategic and you can dare wisely. Now, all these things that I've mentioned is not to say that you should stay small, or you should allow, or if people just say no. Remember, I, like I said earlier, nobody likes change. So I've not said all of this to now tell you that to stay small. You have to remember that is not your job. That is not why we're here. We're here to challenge things. We're here to question things. And we're here to just say that, yeah, we can do it. After we've thought carefully, we've thought about it carefully, and we've come up with a strategy, we know that we can do it, then you take the action. Being thoughtful about all of this does not mean that you have to shrink yourself. You can be bold, you can be audacious and respectful at the same time, because that is what makes it sustainable. That is what makes the change that you want to do so sustainable. So, yeah, but it still doesn't mean that you have to think about what people think. Let's not let that bother us. Because again, like I said, nobody has ever made done big things by thinking about what people think. And remember that I also said that people always come around. People always come around, because the same people that find you cringe say, oh, you're trying to be a TikToker. The same people that find you cringe now, when you start getting those PR packages, there's the same people that will still want to be your friends. So let's not think too much about, oh, what would they think of me? I don't want to offend people. I don't want to. Nah. As long as you remain respectful, you remain, you, your emotional intelligence is intact, you're going about this in a way that doesn't disrespect people. It's not up to you how people accept it, but be sure that you've ticked all these boxes. And then just remember, we're all about doing big things from small spaces, from small places. But yeah, no, don't care too much about whose toes you step on, because people always come around. Yeah, I think I've been able to answer those questions. But if you,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, thank
And
you.
we really appreciate that the comments. We also appreciate the answer for the dreaming to align with the group or the people around you. Now, the last set of questions, which we would like Konde Emmanuel to address in a few minutes, is how to have ideas. Somebody is asking how will he do if he does not have ideas? And another person is asking, how does he start? I know you've mentioned some of these things, but you should probably remind people in a few minutes
Yes.
how to start and how to generate ideas. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much for I like the second question more about how to generate ideas because um as in my field we usually have like downtime, or let's say when your MD says you have to come up with something like something better, blah blah. And you just look up and down and be like, where do I enter? Like, what do I have to do? But I think I'll answer like that question second. Like, I'll answer it like after the where do I start? So, where do I start? I think that you should start where you are. That sounds cliche, but start where you are. One of the ways that you can start of starting where you are is to ask people for help. Quick story. 2019 to 2020, I served in Abuja, and I got a job as an admin assistant. After that, I worked with AIT, a show on AIT for a while. But most of my classmates in Ife, or maybe like out there, they already had the news, or maybe they saw me at some point reporting. So, because I was a news person in school, I was a journalist in school, they already thought that, oh, Emmanuel had his big break. I hope you're getting me. And the money they were paying me, the woman who had the show was paying me was, I think, about 20K or 30K, which was crazy at that point because I could not stay with somebody anymore. I had finished NYC, so there's no like that grace had ended, and I was starting from zero. My dad is not the director of anywhere. He's a normal. He works in a private company, so it's not like I have like that connection. And usually people when they want to start, they will be shameful to say, oh, I can't ask for help. I don't want my classmates to see, know that I don't have a job, I don't have this. I reached out to like a lot of my classmates, almost all of them, that I knew that were reasonable enough to understand, and I asked them for help. It was not for them to give me job, it was just for them to look out for any job that is available. And that is what we're talking about doing. Doing doesn't necessarily mean that you create a website for your business, or you just design one UI UX, a software to solve Nigeria's problem and save us from Tinubu. No, that's not what doing means. Doing means asking for help, using what is in front of you. For example, if you don't have light, okay, maybe your parents bought small solar, use it to read for the jam, and don't say you don't have light, that's why you've scored 152 or something. Somebody sent me their results recently and I was like, we didn't even have light, you guys now have light. We didn't have light and we scored way more than that. And I understand, yeah, we can't compare everyone, but doing is asking people for help and ensuring that you are not shameful. Do you understand? In terms of like relating with other people. For like I mentioned, social capital. Talk to people about your dreams and don't just talk to them about it. To you, 10,000 naira might be like a lot, or but to some people it's just small. Sometimes you might not even be able to afford a biro or a phone that can, for you to tweet or to do something. Ask people for help. You have parents, you didn't just drop from heaven. You have people in your church, you have people around you, who can help you. And apart from that, I know there's this caveat on, asking people for help. You might be like, so that they will not be saying that, our help, we're the one without him. Nobody really cares. Tunde, there are many people who probably help Tunde or Nokoya. I'm using him as an example because he's somebody that like I follow his story a lot. And no, but Mr. Beast, there must have been people who had helped him, but those people are not carrying banners around today to say, "Oh, we helped." Well, if not for us, even if they do so, nobody really cares. YouTube does not care; they are celebrities already. So the next one about ideas, I hope that answered the first question. The next one about ideas is how to get ideas is that I've used for myself is also talking to people and consuming other people's content. Consume the kind of content. Let's say you want to learn how to. I'll use tie and dye because that's like what I do as a business. But it's just like you want to, okay, yeah, ideas. They are, let me use football because I also play. It's just you want to be a better footballer, but you don't watch football. I'm sure that there are some, you will not know what they call 360 dribble. You will not know sometimes when to shoot and there will be a deflection. You feel like maybe somebody is in front of you and you cannot shoot. It's Folake mentioned AI, right? You can always ask questions. ChatGPT is not. I've never paid for it. I mean, maybe I hope I get to the like stage where I can pay like very well. But it's there are ideas everywhere. There are like ideas everywhere. Talk to somebody about it. I mean, the person might not be able to help you, but talk to other people too. Just like we said, this page, the IG page in the comments, dear students, you can drop your comments there for people to, my time is up. But if you are confused about your ideas, please talk to somebody. Yeah, talk to somebody. Thanks.
Thank you, Emmanuel Akonde. Thank you so much, Folake Ogunjimi. Thank you, Emmanuel Peter. We appreciate you, and we thank everyone who has joined us. You can follow us on at AS Students. They sponsored the program. We're grateful to them. Follow us on Instagram and on IG, and hope to see you in the next edition. If you're willing to speak in any subsequent edition of Dream Dear Do, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Ayokunle Ogunjimi also, and I'm sure we would be able to feature you at one point or the other. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you do have a lovely day or evening, as the case may be. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.